Hello everybody, and welcome to Yikonia 101. The first actual episode with gameplay in it. Made a little, thingy here, a little showcase area. So, basically speaking, you just got into Yikonia, maybe with some people, maybe not, depends on, what you want. And you've gone ahead and made a house and maybe did a little bit of mining. Where do you go from there? What's better for equipment and everything? Well, the next step in natural progression that we go with, and is heavily recommended for anybody else, is a little mod called Tinker's Construct. I say little, but this is basically a relatively complicated mod, just in the realms of like player creation basis. There's a whole bunch of custom things you can do because this mod is responsible for making entirely custom weapons and different weapon types too. So let's go ahead and get into it here. These books that you have are what you'll have whenever you spawn into any world that has Tinker's Construct in it. The crafting recipe form is here. In case you lose this book for whatever reason, or these books for whatever reason, you can craft them in case you need them again. Crafting recipe for both the books is shapeless. You need a book and a blank pattern. The blank pattern is obviously a modded item that we'll get to later. In order to craft the armor compendium version of the book, you need a materials in the book and then the blank pattern again. This thing is amazing. You'll be using this not just for Tinker's Construct, but also many other just applications in general. It is a crafting station. You can see that all of the things that are holding my items are using crafting stations, not just because you can leave the items in the stations to keep a memory of the crafting output, but also you can physically see the whatever item is like in their crafting grid, which is awesome. So, these are neat items. You have the beginning portion, you know, what you should have before you jump into it. But then also the crafting station with its infinite amount of amazing usefulness. Also, they just look like better than crafting tables, frankly. So, the actual modded blocks to get this started is a block called grout. You need, in a shapeless recipe, sand, gravel, and clay. Alternatively, if you have a lot of clay, you can get... Oh, that's not supposed to be there. We're just going to put that in there. Alternatively, you could put in any 4 sand, any 4 gravel, and 1 block of clay, which is 4 individual clay things, and it'll get 8 grout out of it. So yeah. Like I said, these are shapeless. They just need to be in any 4 formations there, which is kind of a weird thing that I don't think I've seen exactly yet with a mod. So, I don't know. That's kind of neat. So now that you got grout, you need to move on to making these bricks. You need a lot of these. So you're going to basically need a lot of grout first. So here it is. You cook them in a redstone furnace to get you seared brick. Turn it on. And yeah, just start cooking seared brick. This is from another mod entirely, so don't pay attention to that too much. I just wanted to look cool. Mostly. The bricks are used for this entire section onwards, basically. The smeltery itself. So, your most basic recipe with a seared brick is to get seared bricks, the block. You craft them in a square. It's, basically like the bricks recipe for vanilla Minecraft, just using clay. Smeltery controller, brain of the smeltery. We'll explain all this again later. Need it in a 8 square pattern. It's sort of a V or Y pattern. Seared bricks gets you seared faucets. I would recommend making a couple of these, at least 2, but go for 3. Then from there, also, you need a seared drain. I would recommend 2 or at least 2, but you might want to go for 3. Then from there, a seared tank. This is also required. Just get one of these, glass, and then surround it in seared bricks. And this is entirely optional, but I like it a lot because we get to see the liquid metal. Glass and seared brick gives you a seared window. All it does, it can retain liquid, which is its own thing, but also you can see through it. It's a window. It's what, you know, windows, they do that. Smeltery draining process is its own little thing. In combination with the faucets, you'll also need a casting table. So yeah, a bit of a sort of a N shape pattern there, then a U shape pattern. Basically the opposite will get you a casting basin. Both of these are used for, again, draining the liquid metal into your actual outputs to craft them with. So once you have those physical items, two-part building stuffs. To get those blank patterns I was talking about earlier, 2 sticks and spruce planks, I think they need to be shaped. I think this is shaped, yes, okay. Everything prior to this is also shaped as well, I should mention. All of this from here, shaped. So, you're going to need now the blank patterns and oaked wood to get stencil table. Probably should get a couple, like a ton of these blank patterns as well. If you're in a community of people that you brought with, you can sell the blank patterns to other people if you have excess, but you're going to need a good bit. Maybe not as many as the bricks. The bricks you'll kind of consecutively want to get more of because you can upgrade your smeltery with it. Blank patterns, not so much. You'll basically be one and done with the blank patterns. So in the next part, you're also going to need a tool station, crafting table, and blank pattern. A lot of these tables look really, really similar, so they are their own thing, and they have completely different uses, one relying off of the other in some cases. So this is a nice quality of life thing that they added during 1.12. Pattern chest, oak chest, blank pattern, also good. Part chest, sticks, chest, planks, pattern. And then from there we go back to the actual tables. Pattern, blank pattern, oak wood, you get part builder. And then these tables are upgraded versions, essentially, of the tool forge stations. The tool station. The armor version has their own table, so the armor station here, blank pattern, and a crafting station. You can also use a crafting bench if you don't use a station. That applies to the other recipe with the crafting station in it. Yeah, crafting bench. This can be a crafting station in case you had an extra lying around. Armor station, they upgrade into this. That's a tool forge. Okay, that's supposed to be a armor forge, but it looks exactly like that, basically. And then the same deal for this not part builder, tool forge into a, this thing, tool station, the names are confusing. Tool station gets made into a tool forge. Yes, they're the upgraded versions of the tool forge. Which, what do I mean by upgraded? Well, how can you upgrade them? Basically, the armor station's a bad example. But when it comes to the tools, you have a somewhat limited number of things. Pickaxe, shovel, hatchet, that's an axe. Mattock, which is like a multi-tool. Comma, it's like your hoe. Broadsword, longsword, rapier, frying pan, vital sign, short bow, arrow, chisel. These are all weapons that you can make. But the upgraded version of the table, if we walk all the way over here, has many, many more that you can make from. So, the laser gun is something that we don't have in Yikonia. So if you see this here and wondering where that's at, I disabled it because of the nature of guns. I don't necessarily want them unless they have a particular rule set about them. So I'm moderating kind of how guns are. That's not in the game, sorry. That being said, you can use upgraded and more expensive versions of tools to, just have more options when it comes to crafting what kind of weapon you want. So yeah, we have scythes, and then excavators, and then hammers, fucking katanas, cleavers, short bow, long bow, crossbow. Those are the bolts of the crossbow. Whole bunch of stuff. Some weapon options are missing from the 1.7.10 variant. And I couldn't go into detail as to why, as I just, haven't cared to look at it. I wasn't the one that necessarily made the mod. It's not the thing I did. Upgrading the armor station, I believe, just means that you can make more armor with more. Sorry, make armor with more materials. I think there's a limit to the the armor forge back there. So how does one make the tool parts and everything? Well, what you're first going to need is to take that stencil table you crafted from earlier and see you have a blank pattern. From the pattern, you basically go to the left side here, click any of these squares, and then make the actual pattern. This is why I say you need a good bit of them, because these are somewhat consumable. Rather speaking, like I said before, they're one and done. You'll take the pattern, grab it one time, and then proceed not to use this pattern again. I'm going to take a weird example for something later, and then take a pretty typical example. Let's make... what kind of weapon can we make? You'll basically be doing this if you're not systematically trying to get all the patterns. You'll kind of decide what kind of weapon you want and then work from there. We'll just... Well, I don't know. What do we do? Katana? Katanas are cool. Yeah, we'll do katana. So that requires a large blade, a tough rod, you can see right here. A tough tool rod, large sword blade, and a tough binding. So, we need tough tool rod, tough binding. I'm a little bit tired. It's 7 o'clock for me. I'm supposed to be sleeping. So I apologize if I'm a little bit scatterbrained at the moment. Working on that not being the case. So you have your patterns, but you can't stick this in a forge because it'll melt right away and won't give you anything. Realistically speaking, anyway. You're essentially doing blacksmithing. It's kind of what you're working with here. With that being said, you can't put wood in anything that it resembles a furnace or something that melts because it will just burn away. You're going to need stone first. So, I have cobblestone in these little neat selling booth things to kind of show you. Take stone. You're going to need a lot of this too if you're trying to systematically build all the things. And from there, you can grab the rods that they make. So, tough tool rod pattern. We do not necessarily need that anymore. Take a tough binding. Take that. Again, don't need it anymore. And tough sword blade. Pretty good. I'm not going to make any of the things that I grabbed here because it's not important at the moment. You can also see that some patterns do not make typical materials. Some materials do not count. You can't make fletching out of metal. It doesn't work like that. Fletching is used for more typical things you would figure for a bow. So like feathers, or you can use leaves. There are some modded materials that you can use as fletching. And in order to get those parts, you do exactly how I'm doing here, but with other normal parts. Take the material you want to make it out of, the pattern, and then you'll get the part out of it. Same thing goes for like a bowstring or something. If you're trying to you can't just use string, you have to get string, put it into a thing with a pattern, you know, part builder with the pattern of string, and then you can get the bowstring made of just normal silk string. So, what'd I do? Okay, there we go. I thought I misclicked. Tool forge. If you really, really want to, you can make cobblestone weapons right from the get-go. Not exactly a great idea because, as you can see, their weapons from Tinker's Construct have these little adjectives to them almost. I don't know what you want to call them other than effects. Basically, they have traits. Traits with every... traits are basically... are from... Oh, Jesus, there we go. Traits can be seen on almost any metal. So you have things like cheap and cheapskate here, which basically both make it to where it degrades the value of these weapons in general. So the trait actually makes it to where stone is just more terrible than it actually tells you it is. If you're trying to see what all the stats do and what all the traits do, you would have to console the books basically that were given earlier, the materials and you guide books. We're not trying to make cobblestone weapons if that's the case here. What you want to do now is assemble your smeltery. You can see that my smeltery here is a pretty typical design. This is a good starter design for anybody trying to get into it and make, you know, just anything really. You'll need a pretty decent size. So what I have here is a 3x3 square. 3x3 square inside of here, and then right outside I have just 3 blocks kind of going up. You can actually make it to where it's just the 3 inside and then one little layer of blocks right here. It's pretty free flow whenever it comes to what goes where. Anything that's detected as a seared something will work for the basic wall. But ultimately, you are going to need the controller, the tank, something that acts as bricks that also counts as glass, so bricks or glass, and then the drains in order for it to count as a smeltery. You can tell that it works if this smeltery controller has embers coming out of it. So, probably not a good idea to just start jumping into making, your parts yet. Maybe you're going into here and you're like, oh hey, let's go ahead and make some parts. That'll be cool. Yes, that would be really cool if you could just do that, but you can't. You need to make casts. You're handling molten metal. Imagine trying to do that in real life. You'll burn the shit out of yourself. So we need to make a cast so that it can be shaped as it flows through the smeltery itself. The easy way to do that without considering mods would be to essentially use gold as the cast because of its higher melting point. There is a more temporary solution if you maybe put something, maybe you jump the gun and put metal in and now you want to get it out because there's nothing you can really do with it. You can still make a cast. You can still make a cast with clay, but it will be consumed. So it can get kind of expensive and, most of all, obtuse if you don't have permanent casts with you. So let's go ahead and make some permanent casts. I don't have gold with me because gold is a little bit on the expensive side, even just, considering vanilla or not. So, there's another thing that I can show you off here, is the process of alloying metals together. What I have here is 3 blocks of aluminum and 1 block of copper. If I put them in my smeltery, they will begin melting, and relatively quickly too, which is pretty neat, based off their melting point, of course. There's a whole bunch of technicalities with this mod as well that I should mention. You can use other types of fuel if you look into it. You can actually have a slimmer design that's a completely different block than this one. Sorry, a completely different smeltery than this one, just called a melter. And a whole bunch of other just neat stuff. This also has a little bit of world generation using slime islands. But largely speaking, this is a blacksmithing mod. Maybe that's not necessarily the intention of the mod creator, but that's what kind of ended up happening here. So yeah, as you can see, these metals are actively shifting and changing because it's adding to aluminum brass, which is the metal we're going to be focusing with here. So, before you right-click these faucets, what you want to do, if you want to do it as fast as possible, even while it's melting, is to click the aluminum brass and force it to the bottom. Anything that is at the bottom will come out of the smeltery first. So, it should, perfect, just like that. Melted into a cast. Whatever is being casted will be consumed. So again, make sure you do this at a cobblestone, as that is just the cheapest and fastest method to do that. I'm not sure if you can do it with wood, but I wouldn't see why not. It's just, it's slightly more obtuse to do that. But if you really want to do it out of wood, there's no one stopping you. So, click, click. I now have my casts. We're going to go ahead and leave them in here. Because, yep, those are, going to be in there anyway. There's a couple of other things that you can cast too. I should probably show this off. What you want to start off casting, actually... Thanks, I didn't need all those, but alright. What you actually want to start off casting, more so than any tool parts, is anything that counts as a brick. Because at that point, you can actually make ingots. Any brick will do. At this point, you can make it to where ingots can now be made with the metals that you take out. So this is the most reliable method of getting your metal out so that it doesn't alloy by accident. What you might do as a first-time player of this mod is mix iron and gold together because you don't assume that they would make anything. That's not true. They make agmalin, which by itself is a pretty neat metal to experiment with, but not considering its traits, you're going to mix it together if you or if you just recklessly put in all of your metals at once. And more than just that, all of your metals are going to mix together into something that you didn't expect for them to do. And while at some points that would be kind of cool, and it's like, oh, well, they're always going to be better, right? No, sometimes they'll be better in some aspects, and they'll be worse in others. So that's something you have to look out for. And also, the ratios for making alloys varies depending on what alloy you're trying to make. You can't make any alloys that are just like garbage alloys necessarily. Like, there's not a fail rate for making alloys. That's not a thing. But in the same token, you need to just be sure that this doesn't say millibuckets in it or nuggets, in which case you'll need to make a nugget cast. You can fix that. But if this says millibuckets, this is as good as stuck. And you basically have to break the smeltery and force all of your metal to be wasted, if that's the case. No one can help you there, really. Anyway, so with all the cautionary shit out of the way, let's go ahead and make a weapon out of something. What do we want to make here? We'll just throw some shit together. S-I-L-V-E-R. What? Why are you giving me silver quartz? What happened? I'm in search, right? L-V-E-R. Yeah, I don't know why the hell that happened. That was weird. Must have been in some menu. We'll just take, that silver painted brick. I don't know if that's gonna work. Silver ingots. We'll do the blade being silver ingots. So that'll be 8. Oh, I need to do several blades, don't I? Okay, well, let's do, A-G-M-U. Oh, nope. I'm hoping this is gonna work. I should have looked at it before, but this'll be neat. Mom spaghetti. We can make, you know, like I said, a whole bunch of custom stuff. So any of these things you see here, I don't know what. Oh, no, because I want to melt it first. Guess I don't know. Maybe agmalin isn't even a thing. That would be all right, but maybe I just spelled it wrong. Who knows? Okay, well, let's do. Let's just look I-N-G-O-T. That's what I usually do whenever I'm thinking about making stuff in Tinker's Construct. Just go to Ingot and see what I got. Adamantine. That's alright. Ooh, fire would look good. Let's do 8 for the blade there. And I think it's 3 and 3 for the next one. So we'll do 1, 2, 3 electrum. And black. Let's do void metal. Yeah, that's edgy and cool. We'll do that. So, also, one thing I should note. Material costs are at the bottoms. Close to the bottom, second to the last of whatever cast you're using, or whatever pattern you're using. And it tells you, you know, how much a material you need in order to fill up that thing. You can also waste materials this way. So if I go ahead and melt the silver in here, it'll do its thing. Looking pretty good. Eventually, this isn't going to alloy, so I could just go ahead and do this to skip time. Click. Okay, so we got some silver. Oh, let's do blade for this one first. Blade. Yep. Neat process. You can see that the Wila and everything actually tracks how far it's going, which is super cool. Nice opacity effects. Cool. Once it's all done, go ahead and grab a silver sword blade. If it's anything less than the amount that it asks for, whether it be 8 or 3 or whatever, what'll basically end up happening is that it'll only be partly filled up, and it will never cool down, and you have to break the table in order to fix it. Again, you will lose the metal if that's the case, so fair warning there. Void metal cannot be melted. That's fine. I can fix that. Ooh, molten fire looks fucking crazy. I love that. Okay. So, Molten Fiery. We'll do the handle for that one. So that'll be the tool rod. Yep. I've never melted this metal before. That looks awesome. Oh. Okay, well, that's fine. I actually ended up doing the wrong one. I'm tired, y'all. I'm sorry. Well, luckily I can show that off. If you make the wrong part, you can put it back into the smelter and it'll remelt it for you. Let's go ahead and show off the, not workingness of this part, too, because that's also, you know, kind of important. So, yeah, as you can see, if it's not filled up all the way, it will be just stuck at whatever amount that it's at, and it'll be permanently molten right there. Can't do anything with it other than break it and get your shit back, or get the rest of the metal that you need. And that's going to take 6 years, so let's go... Oh, nope, I can't do that. Let's go back over here and use Part Builder. So, the tool rod. Click. I guess I can't do void metal as a thing. That makes sense, it's not detecting it. Okay. Well, some ingots, I guess you can't make stuff out of. Let's look. I'll just look up tool rod. You'll get the point by now. Steel leaf, fake iron. Wait, but that's Twilight. Wait, hold on. Oh, no, that's Thom. I'm sorry. Okay. Purple handle, Hadroth. Ooh, Vulcanite. Tin. Vulcanite's pretty cool. Yeah, we'll do that. Cool. Make it really neat and stuff. Okay, let's go to the rest of that fiery. Don't forget about there. And is that all we needed? Blade. Oh wait, yeah. The I barely noticed it. It was the same, basically the same color. Electrum. Think. Cool. And my blade's just about cooled. It takes a whole minute. If the melting point is high on a thing, on a part, that also means not only does it take longer to cook in the furnace, but also that it takes longer to cool down as well. Neat little detail. Doesn't really mean much necessarily. Okay, so you have all your parts good and accounted for. Let's go ahead and go to the tool forge and select our katana. So you can see that it's kind of mimicked out here what it's going to be. I think this is actually the reverse from the thing that I wanted it to do, but that's fine. Regular tough rod. I need a tough tool rod. T. Oh, till. That's good. There we go. Oh, purple. Unnatural. Desichankos. Dry. I want to go for something purpley. Flux crystal. That sounds crazy. We'll do that. So yeah, let's go ahead. It saves what parts are in here too. They kind of put them in weird spots that make sense to the game where it's at. Tough rod, and then blade, and then blade, and you can see that my weapon is now made. Shows up how it kind of looks right there. Kind of neat. Super weird. Fiery silver katana. And yeah, that turned out where I wanted to be. So yeah, there's a couple of stats going on here that you can see. Whole bunch of stuff. Durability 300, attack is 6.62, so not amazing for this weapon or its materials. Mining speed in Twilight Forest, damage outside Twilight Forest. There's a whole bunch of stats. Bonus damage to burning targets, that's awesome, versus undead because, holy. All the stats can be accounted for. You can see what part comes up from what, and I have a lot of traits. Speedier in the Twilight Forest, more damage outside the Twilight Forest. Harvested blocks get smelted. You're going to be fighting things with that, so that's not important. If you're mining, though, good stuff. Turn up the heat. Super heat. Deal bonus damage to enemies on fire. That is awesome. Flammable. So, touching blocks... blocking blocks fire damage and getting hit sets the attacker on fire. Super cool. Radiant. Deal bonus damage to undead enemies. Pretty basic. And shocking. Glancing around, breaking blocks or hitting... running around breaking blocks or hitting things. Charges your tool. Hitting an enemy discharges it, dealing damage or preventing its speed. providing a speed boost. Mining a block discharges it, giving a mining speed boost. Super, super cool. That comes from Electrum, yes, shocking. So yeah, go ahead and make our weapon here. And yeah, our fiery silver katana. On top of all of your metals having traits, the weapon that you make has traits as well, like static traits that happen with the weapon. That's so cool. Some of the stuff I haven't seen yet. So we could just run around for a while, jumping, it charges it. That's so cool. That's awesome. There's plenty of stuff I still haven't discovered with this mod. So yeah, even if it says it's pretty weak, it's not all that weak. Bink. You can one-shot things if you're well spec'd out. The trait for katanas, just all katanas ever, by the way, is a bloodlust effect whenever you kill one enemy. The timer increases as you kill more enemies. So I still have a bloodlust effect going on. It's a combo system. There it says a combo level. 1.2. It's kind of obstructed because of all the things that I have on screen. But yeah, as you can see, the more things I kill, the more time I get on it. And every weapon has their own effect that's like that. Katanas are also slightly faster than the vanilla sword style as well. But yeah, that basically covers all of the beginnings in Tinker's Construct. So, remember, you need a lot of these bricks. You probably will have a couple spare, and that's okay, because the first thing you're making whenever you make your smeltery is to make an ingot cast, so that you can get your molten metals out. There are ways to automate this system as well, but we will not cover this in that, we'll not cover that in this video, because that's its own set of technicalities and stuff, but whenever it gets to the separate mod videos, we'll get to it. So yeah, you made your ingot cast. When you get done with that, make sure that all of your stuff is placed for anything else that you want to make, and then just get to crafting. See what you want. Try to get all of the casts crafted at once, and just, I don't know, supply yourself or your army with whatever weapons and start seeing what works. Develop crazy builds and stuff with singular weapons. And most of all, just have fun. This stuff is crazy. Oh yeah, probably should mention, you fill the smeltery with lava. That's the whole thing there. So yeah, other than that, I guess it's I'm gonna go ahead and wrap up this video. If you liked it, like, comment, favorite, subscribe. Try to, we need people all the time for this project in order for it to truly flourish. So with that being said, all the links to get into the server and to download the mod pack will be in the description. If you want to know how to download the mod pack and what all you need to do, the first episode in this series explains exactly how you should do that. In any case, I have been Prince Mouse. Have a good one, and goodbye.